Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. Thank you for tuning in to a Rams Bucks game preview. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. If you are a subscriber, turn on those notifications because I'm going live anytime, all the time. I'm going to be doing many more live streams, so turn on those notifications. If you are following me on Twitter and everywhere else, please do so. So I'm really stoked. I mean, what else can you say about this game? I mean, the Rams and the Bucks, these are the class of the NFL happening right now. Personally, this is like payback, Tom Brady payback, revenge game. Because of, I mean, the two Super Bowls last year, the Rams beating the Bucks last year with Tom Brady does not diminish what Tom Brady has done to the Rams. So this to me is just, it's personal. I'm taking it personal. Nothing against like the Bucks organization, but this is more of a Tom Brady coming for you situation. Like when the Rams beat the Patriots last year, even though Tom Brady wasn't on there, that was like, oh, Belichick, we got you finally in the game that doesn't really matter too much. But, anyways, I got a few people joining the chat. If you're watching this on replay, drop a comment. Let me know what you think of this game. We're going to get into it. There's a lot to discuss. I mean, two very evenly matched teams. So, I mean, this game could really go either way. But it's good to see some of the usual suspects in here. We got Dr. L30. We got Ruiz, the Rams, Anderson, King Easy, Philip. I mean, a lot of my favorite people are showing up. So good to see you guys. It is going to be a dogfight. What it do, Ruiz? King Easy, always good to see you. Yeah, looking forward to a great game now. I mean, so some of the latest happenings and news and updates. So apparently Jason Pierre-Paul, JPP, has an injured shoulder, and he just saw a doctor, and the doctor said rest. So he hasn't practiced. I mean, he may or may not go in this game. So I think between the guys for the Bucks that are out, so Antonio Brown for COVID, he needs 2 negative tests within 24 hours or 24 hours apart. So very questionable. He has to get on a plane to fly. So I mean, this all factors into to him playing. So AB, JPP, Mickens, their returner, is most likely out with an abdominal. Apparently, too many crunches, and he couldn't hang. So their returner, they're one of their top 3 receivers, and JPP. So if JPP can't go, I mean, they still slot in their first round pick, Joe Tryon, out of Washington. So I mean, JPP is JPP. Joe Tryon's a rookie, but still, very talented player. So it's not like the Rams totally get off the hook. But I mean, JPP was a force last year when the Rams played him. So what's up, Shot by Nolan? Good to see you. So I mean, I'll take it any way I can get it, because if you ask me if which one of those Bucks players could the Bucks not afford to lose, I would probably say JPP, because what that pass rush and even playing against the run, what that defensive line is for the Bucks. Whereas AB, I mean, that's the thing about AB. It's, I guess, pick your poison between JPP and AB, and I'll get into this later. But like this is such a cool matchup of wide receiver sets. Whereas the Bucks on paper have the most talented guys, but the Rams as a unit, I think, are really, I mean, it's, you pick your poison, really, to be honest. This is just really going to be crazy. But with AB not in there, because going into this game, I was thinking about David Long and Darius Williams in particular. Yeah, like we know Jalen Ramsey is going to be fine. Is he going to be lining up against Mike Evans like he did most of last year? They're going to move him around. So then if they move him around, then that puts more pressure on David Long. I mean, this is really like D. Will played in high leverage situations last year, right? He was a starter the whole year, but David Long hasn't. And, this is really the first test for David Long, because against the Bears, outside of, Mooney and Robinson, the Colts outside of Pittman. I mean, Pascal is still really good, but not like, oh, now you have to guard AB. Now you have to guard Chris Godwin. So that's a different beast. So if AB can't go, then then that really helps the Rams secondary. Jalen, you can put him on Mike Evans, say D. Will, you take Godwin, and then Long. You can Sean, Scotty Miller, Ty Johnson. Those are good receivers too, but they're just not the caliber of AB. So I think not if AB can't go, then I think David Long is like, whew, man, I really skipped that one. However, when it comes to the Bucks offense, the X factor for me is the Gronk because this is like prime time Gronk, and he's a big dude, right? Like, he this isn't kind of one of your athletic tight ends. It's not like Higbee's a big dude, but he's not as big as Gronk. And I just think of like Jordan Fuller and Taylor Rapp trying to tackle him, right? So, maybe more that's more of a Kenny Young situation or a Ernest Jones. I don't know really, but like who how do you take Gronk down once he has it? So I guess mainly it's just covering him really well and making sure he doesn't get those receptions. So I mean that's what I really like about this game because from a defensive standpoint, the weapons that the Bucks have really make you take it like you have to know where everyone is at the same time. So if AB can't go, that is a huge, huge break for the Rams. But at the same time, Scotty Miller is still going to get action, maybe Ty Johnson. So it's not like the Rams are totally out of the woods. It's not like, oh, AB's not playing. And then that means like their third receiver is nothing. Like they still have pretty solid options. Now I had some interesting stats. So I want to get into those now. So the Rams, they lead the all-time series with Tampa Bay 17-9 and have won 6 out of the last 7, including we all know the game last year. However, they come into this game as 1.5 underdogs. They started, I think the line was like 2 or 3 in the Rams' favor. They were favored, but it really has moved significantly. I'm not sure why. Who knows? But Tampa Bay hasn't lost a game since week 12 of last year. So when the Rams played Tampa Bay, so I kind of this is the Rams and Tampa Bay are similar in the sense that last year, you remember the beginning, Tampa Bay got spanked by the Saints, and they just didn't look like the talent was there, but they just didn't gel. And then and the Rams beat them. Goff had a really good game actually. Fuller had 2 interceptions. But when week 12 rolled around, they clicked and they haven't looked back. So, like, they're a well-oiled machine. They've won a Super Bowl. They know they can do it. And that's a big deal. Stafford, however, is 3-2 versus Tampa Bay in his career. Now, keep in mind, this is like the Lions version, 3-2 versus Tampa Bay in his career. Also, not the Tom Brady version of Tampa Bay, the Jameis Winston version. Gosh, whoever was before Jameis Winston, Josh Freeman, and who's the guy with the big neck? Mike Glennon, right? So, and he has a 98 passer rating and averages 226 yards against Tampa Bay in his 5 starts. Now, last year, I mentioned last year's game, Jared Goff threw for 376 yards on 51 attempts. So that was actually a really good game for Goff, even though he had 2 interceptions. He threw for 3 touchdowns, I believe, and that was an overall strong performance from Goff. I mean, I think probably one of his best games last year was against Tampa Bay, and that's because Tampa Bay's secondary is, to me, the vulnerable spot. Not just to me, but I mean everyone kind of knows this. That's the weak link. I was going to say something else in the armor. And we all know that. And I'll get into that in a sec. But, speaking about Goff a little bit, I'm not trashing Goff, respect Goff, but Matthew Stafford this year has already thrown for the same amount of touchdowns as that traveled 15 yards downfield as Jared Goff had all of last year. So to me, that's just illustrating the point of how the ball is moving further down the field per average in the air. And even for touchdowns, he's throwing some long ones for touchdowns. So now I watched the Tampa Bay game last week against Atlanta, and Tampa Bay was up only by 3, 28-25, with 10 minutes to go in the 4th. And the reason why they pulled away was because of 2 defensive touchdowns. So Mike Edwards caught a ball, pick 6, and then they deflected another ball, kind of like a pick 6. So that was like bam, bam. And that's why you see the score what it was. But I mean, the Falcons went into Tampa Bay and were only down by 3 with 10 minutes to go in the 4th. So when you look at that score, you just see the box score from last week and you go, oh, wow, Tampa Bay just completely steamrolled them. And while Tampa Bay was, in charge of the game, it wasn't like a straight up blowout. So just something to keep in mind. And also Tom Brady last year. Here's the thing, I'm not going to put anything past Tom Brady. I respect him. We need to beat him, but he had 5 touchdowns last game. Falcons defense, what are you going to do? But last year he threw just over 200 yards. In last year's matchup, he was not proficient. He was not amazing. He wasn't Tom Brady the GOAT. So like when you see moments like that where he is vulnerable, you have to stop and think like, okay, he's like mortal. He bleeds. Like it's the Rams can beat Tom Brady. He has lost games before. It's possible. However, that was, like I said, still kind of meshing, still trying to gel last year. So this version of Tom Brady, I think, is better than last year's version of Tom Brady with the Bucs. But he is mortal. It is possible, right? So, yeah, those are just some initial thoughts here. Let me scroll through the comments and see what's going on. We got 33 people here. Everyone hit the thumbs up, the like button on this, and like I always say, send the algorithm into outer space. What's up, Paul? Special teams, no short fields for Brady. Exactly. That's going to be something to watch. And I'm glad you brought that up, is the special teams. I mean, outside of, just Matt Gay needs to kick touchbacks. They're playing indoors, so he should just boom it every time. However, their returner is out. Mickens and Jalen Darden will be the guy that filling in for him, but their punt returner, kick returner is out. And so we just need to kick it out of the end zone and just don't even put it in the hands of the coverage team. Like let's just do that. But also when you talk about special teams, like, well, it depends. Okay, so here's also the deal. This seems like the Rams don't really hold the other teams to punts. They march down the field and the Rams get a turnover. They force a turnover. So that always really works in the Rams' favor, but they're not getting many punt return opportunities. So are we going to continue to see the fair catch Cooper Kupp out there? Are we going to see the give it a whirl Tutu Atwell? That's going to be really interesting for me. But also, this is the Matt Gay revenge game because he was a Buck and now he's a Ram. Thank you very much. We'll take that. From what I heard from Philip, from what I heard, Sony Michel is starting. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Darrell Henderson, cartilage injury in the ribs. And, this goes back to like when Hanley Ramirez was plunked in the ribs against the Cardinals in the playoffs many years ago. It was pretty much like the only way you can get over that is just rest. I guess like that's the deal with any injury, right? You just gotta rest. Cam Akers is like, he's rehabbing it, but it's rest. It's not like he's out there, doing massive cuts and jumps. So I think for me, I just kind of always err on the side of caution. Like, give me a closer to 100% Darrell Henderson 2 weeks from now. This is why we have Sony Michel. This is why we got him for moments like this. He is a starter in this league. He was Tom Brady's running back for 2 years. So I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. But that also brings up to the point of I'm not sure how Sony Michel is catching the ball out of the backfield. I want to say he's all right. Darrell Henderson was good at that. But also, is this a game where the Rams are going to be running the ball a lot? Because last year the Bucs just completely shut. The Bucs have the best run defense in football, and they completely shut the Rams down last year. Do I have anything here on that? No, I don't have any stats in that, but I think we all know, and it is a documented fact that the Bucs just are very stout. They got Ndamukong Suh, they got Vita Vea, they got Shaquille Barrett. There's so many Barretts and Griffins, and anyways, their ends are great. They're Levante David, Devin Bush, like their defense against the run is extremely stout. So we have Sony Michel, who's more of a north-south guy, not so much of a outside zone one cut. So they're gonna be going through power, and this is a great test for our offensive line, right? We haven't faced. Yeah, the Bears have a good defensive line. The Colts have a good defensive line. DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart. They've got some guy, Darius Leonard as a linebacker. But the Rams offensive line, there's actually a really good stat I'm going to read to you from Jordan Rodriguez that she brought up about the Rams offensive line. Now, I'm quoting what Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic wrote. She said, according to a True Media query, the Rams' offensive line so far has allowed pressures on just 18.6% of Matthew Stafford's dropbacks and 11 total pressures, ranking 7th and 3rd in the NFL, respectively, through 2 games. Stafford has also been sacked twice through 2 games, tied with a handful of others for second best in the NFL. It's a small sample size, but solid start, end quote. So let's see how the Rams do. Now, there's 2 elements to that. That is, there's pass protection and there's run blocking. So can the Rams offensive line, can Brian Allen, who has been a pleasant surprise, like, let's just all give it up for Brian Allen. He was left for dead 2.5 years ago. And here he is. He had to face Akeem Hicks. He had to face DeForest Buckner. I mean, no slouch. Now this is going to be another battle in the trench for him. So, I'm really digging what I'm seeing out of Brian Allen and the other guys on the offensive line, but can they open those holes for Sony Michel? Can Sony Michel burst through there and get, this isn't so much like breaking off 10, 12-yard runs. This is just getting positive yardage. This isn't getting hit behind the line. So if Sony Michel can pick up 3 to 6 yards consistently, then I'm okay with that. I can live with that. And he's a tough dude. But if he goes down, then it's the Jake Funk show. So I'm curious to know. I don't know if the Rams have activated a 3rd running back to the active roster. If someone knows that, please put that in the chat. But I'm excited for Sony Michel. I liked him when he came out of Georgia. He was solid for the Patriots. He had an injury-plagued year last year. The Rams knew that Darrell Henderson gets banged up easily, and this is why Sony Michel's here. Otherwise, this would be the Jake Funk show. Nothing against Jake Funk, but I feel a lot more comfortable with Sony Michel in there, and he's a pro. So let's go. Let's see what we got with Sony, and let's give Darrell Henderson another week of rest for those ribs. I mean, that's pretty painful. Ruiz says, regardless, we got to be focused, and Stafford needs to ball out. This is what he wanted, primetime games. Exactly. Like, to this, I mean, I know he's been in a playoff game before, but this is probably a top 5 game in Matthew Stafford's career, and it's only his 3rd game with the Rams. So, I mean, it's him versus Brady. This is an elite quarterback matchup. And I know that, like, we go back to 2017, 2018, and we could say that Jared Goff was kind of in that elite quarterback range. But Matthew Stafford is legit elite quarterback. And so, this is what he wanted. He's going to have the pick of whatever he wants to do against the Bucs secondary. Now, this is the thing. How are the Rams going to attack this? Let's say the running game doesn't get going. The Bucs defense applies pressure. So Matt Ryan was getting the ball out quick, which is kind of what Wentz and what some of these and Dalton were doing against the Rams in the first 2 games, getting the ball out quick, hitting the soft zone and the short and intermediate throws. But is Stafford going to just try and go deep? I mean, I think against the Bucs, if you can maybe get those yak plays with Cooper Kupp, open it up a little bit. If JPP isn't playing, maybe the pressure isn't there. If the offensive line can pass pro, I mean, this is just the thing. But I mean, it's the secondary for the Bucs is there to exploit. Matthew Stafford should have a great game. I'm looking for Cooper Kupp to go nuts. I mean, to me, this is the Rams feasting, the wide receivers feasting. Jared Goff dropped 376 on them last year. Okay, so I expect if Stafford has any sense of any semblance of time to throw, he will pick that secondary apart. He will pick that carcass clean like a vulture in the desert. He will do it. And Cooper Kupp is just going to go nuts. Cooper Kupp is, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to just say, okay, now everyone's focused on Cooper Kupp. Let's go Robert Woods to Deshaun Jackson. So when Sean McVay was asked about Djax, he's like, I got to do a better job of that, getting Deshaun activated in the game. We saw some personnel activations that, didn't really like, but, Deshaun's been working his butt off into practice. And I really feel like he can really contribute to this game. I think Deshaun Jackson is going to get some action in this game. He used to be a Buck, so I think. I mean, come on, why did the Rams pay him 4 to 4+ mil to have him get what, like 17 combined snaps in the last 2 games? So I expect to see some Deshaun Jackson action Jackson in this game. So kind of tailed off there a little bit. Yeah, special teams is a big concern with the Rams. I agree. Okay, I'm way behind here, so I'm just going to kind of power through this with the questions. But I like what I'm seeing right here, guys. The Rams have to put pressure on Brady. The Bucs have a good offensive line too. Donovan Smith. Can't remember who their left guard is, but they got Jensen. They got Ali Marpet. They've got Wirfs. So like they've got a pretty solid offensive line. But I don't know if anyone else watched that Bucs Falcons game, but guess who got in for a strip sack fumble recovery for the Falcons? Oh, that's right, Dante Fowler Jr. So if Dante Fowler Jr. can get home, come on now. And I think, Ali Marpet and Ryan Jensen are legit, right? Their tackles are legit. So where's the weak spot for Aaron Donald? That's going to be interesting. But also, Justin Hollins and Leonard Floyd. I mean, the Rams have done a really good job of applying pressure with their front, and I think their defensive line has actually been really good. But Aaron Donald's played, I think, almost every snap or the majority of snaps, and he's really gassed. So, I mean, it just depends on how much action, how many reps he plays and what his backup looks like. So, yeah, obviously applying pressure on Brady I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, but last week, I think it would have been a lot different if Carson Wentz wasn't as mobile, because the defense, it seemed like the Rams defense was in the Colts backfield all the time. And Darren Donald didn't really finish any sacks, but I mean, he was chasing, Wentz was running for his life the whole game. And Brady isn't that mobile, but he's smart. So I think Brady's gonna, unless the Rams make significant adjustments to their soft zone coverage, I feel like Brady will take what you give him underneath, right? And so that's going to be really interesting to see. Tampa Bay secondary, definitely their weak point. Totally agree. I couldn't believe it when you saw that stat about Jared. Yeah, I mean, every stat about Jared Goff is very interesting, and I hate to take anything away from him, but it just is really just, I guess it's seeing how the Rams are different with Matthew Stafford compared to Jared Goff. And it's not really a slight at Jared Goff, but I think it's also a refreshing breath of fresh air. Like, oh wow, like we can be explosive and we can do these things. And going back to the Bucs secondary, there was a stat about their secondary. So they're 30th against the pass. The 2 games that they've played, the Falcons and the Cowboys, their defense has faced 106 passes versus 38 rushes. So the reason why there's so many yards against them through the air is because the other team, the 2 teams, are just passing it all the time. They're just kind of like, they're averaging 19 rushes a game compared to 53 passes a game. So that's kind of that tells the tale of the tape. I mean, so why? I mean, I understand establishing the run, right? If the Rams can establish the run, then do it. But I mean, it's there for the taking in the secondary. I mean, they've gone up against Dak Prescott and Matt Ryan, and they've given up a 73% completion percentage to those quarterbacks, and 10 passes have gone for over 20 yards. So that just, I think, illustrates the point even more about the weak spot for the Tampa Bay defense. Hey, what's up, Bill? AMS, good to see you too. Hey, Bill, you don't have to say you're Bill. I know AMS equals Bill, but anyways, good to see you. Hey, what's up, Rob? Does anyone else feel like if we still had Goff, we may have not have won the Colts game? I don't know. I never look back really at like what if we had Goff and anything like that. I honestly just I look at the Colts game and think, it wouldn't have been close if they didn't snap it into Nick Scott's leg. So I don't know. I think I'm just so wrapped up in the current and like the exciting thing that is still unfolding before our eyes with Stafford. Go Rams. Yeah, LaFonso, totally agree. Go Rams. Philip, this is obvious, but the Rams can't turn the ball over. If they win the turnover battle, we will win. I agree. I think that in every game, that's kind of what I look at, and it's all about the turnover. So I think Stafford, you know, let's hope that he doesn't throw it away, but then it's the fumble. So yeah, let's just play clean, and that really is obviously always one of the keys. Deshaun Jackson needs to get some touches. Totally agree, Andres. I think he will. I think this will be a good Deshaun Jackson game, and I think here's the deal. This is a real thing. Coaches look at the schedule. They kind of it's like when writers write scripts or TV series, right? So they think, okay, here's the arc. We're going to run this show for hopefully 3 seasons, okay? We're going to start it here, we're going to end it here. And each season is going to like just follow this arc, right? And I think coaches look at an NFL season the same way. Like, okay, we start with the Bears and we end with, I don't know, San Fran. I can't remember who we end with. Okay. And like, we're going to be on the road. We're going to be home. This is our bye week. This is our arc. Right. So we don't want to just take our playbook and just be blah. Here you go. First week. Here's all of our stuff. Right. You want to kind of like build things up and have some unknowns still waiting in the wings out there. And that doesn't mean like, just hold Deshaun Jackson off until week 14. But I think a lot of things are, it's game flow. You just don't know like what opportunities and packages will present itself throughout the game. Like in the first game, the Rams were just so explosive. They didn't have any. They were barely on the field. So I think Deshaun Jackson definitely will get some action. But it's also great. Like he's been the last 2 years, he's barely played due to injury. So it's not like we really want him out there for 50 snaps a game. So I think if he can just have meaningful snaps every game, then that's all you want. So, but I'm looking forward to seeing him bust loose in this game. And I would like Jacob Harris in the red zone. See, that's another thing. No Jacob Harris packages in the red zone. I mean, the Rams really like it's still 2 games, haven't had a lot of offensive possessions. So I think at some point in time in the season, we will see that, but just not yet. He's kind of, I feel like a secret weapon for us. AD and JPP are most likely out. Did you say, oh, you mean AB? Don't scare me with AD, Nick. But I mean, that's huge. And the Rams have really, really benefited from other teams having injuries. The Colts, they had a tackle and their cornerback were out, and AB and JPP being out. That's a big deal. Those aren't slouches. It's not like Carlton Davis being out or whatever, right? So yeah, Philip, the Rams still need to run the ball to keep the defense honest. Yeah, I mean, I just wonder how it's interesting. It's like, do they just go in there thinking, okay, we're going to give it a try, but if they take it away, we're just going to go pass happy, which McVay is totally happy to go pass happy. But how much do they really stick to it, and how much of like Sony Michel is really how much can he make a difference, and how much is he suited to running against the Bucs and behind this offensive line? We still have to learn about the offensive line, and can they really get mean and really shove people out of their way? So that's going to be interesting. Our defense, and what's up, Nick? Our defense right now is 20th against the run and 11th in the pass. It's going to be hard to run against the Bucs also, especially with Hendo down. Yeah, I mean the Rams defense is, I think on paper and in our minds, it's worse than what it really is. And like the defense is also gelling. I mean, keep in mind last year with Brandon Staley, the defense started out all right, but the Bills game we got lit up. Part of that was because Jordan Fuller was out, but also it just takes some time for an offense or a defense or a full team to really gel and get that cohesive identity moving forward. So hopefully this, they look at how they played against the Colts. They see what they liked, what they didn't like. They practice it this week, especially based on this opponent. Now, can they execute, and what is the game plan? And it's going to be interesting to see what they change based off of last week. Carberry putting that work in. Shot by Nolan, you're totally right. And I think I saw something where the Rams offensive linemen were really like looking to finish off their blocks and getting kind of nasty, which I don't recall seeing before. So that's great. Hey, what's up, Payo time, everyone? if you get a chance, there are other Rams YouTubers out there. I'm sure you already know, but Payo Time is one of them. Rams House is another one. Rams House TV is another one. Jake Ellenbogen is another one. So go out there, subscribe to their channels, and give them some love. I mean, they're pumping stuff out all the time. It's good to see you, Payo, here in the mix. And if everyone who hasn't hit the like button, hit that like button so we can get more Rams fans to the mix here. Eduardo, you see Harris coming out this game. Oh, interesting. I mean, why not, right? I think whatever, pull out all the stops in this game and get this W, because this isn't just about beating the Bucs. This isn't just about going 3-0, but this is about getting a game up in the NFC. This is about home field advantage in the playoffs. And speaking of home field, this is the first time Tom Brady's ever played a football game, a professional football game in Los Angeles. So, he's from Northern California, but this is a big deal to him. So, I mean, anyone here going to the game? Let me just ask that. I know a lot of people who stop by Rams Talk go to the game. So, yeah, I'm well, Payo Time. How are you? I hope you're good. I know you're good. Payo Time is just such a positive guy. He's Canadian. I think that's why. I think Canadians are just generally in good spirits. King Easy, what's going up? What's going on? Rookies are going to show up just like last year. Now, I believe it. I think, one rookie has been getting some action is Robert Rochelle. He even got some more snaps last week against the Colts, got snaps against the Bears. So he's doing great. Ernest Jones got some snaps last week, especially in those goal line stands, and also got rotated in a little bit when Kenny Young was ejected. Tutu, though, I'm just sitting here thinking, right? So, like, what if Brian Allen is legit? Hypothetic, what if Brian Allen continues his pace as a top 10 center this year? Okay. Then who should the Rams have taken at center? Should they still have taken a center to just have as next year's center? Right? If it wasn't Tutu and you knew we were good at center, who would you have taken? I can't even remember who's still available, right? But I feel like the Rams addressed so many needs already and they're deep. So I just want some Tutu action. That's all I got to say. Sony pickup was a good move from the jump. It was so great. The fact that the Rams just like basically spent a late round pick, because they traded 2 picks, but one of those picks should be a compensatory pick for when Sony Michel moves on next year. So it's just like they wash out. You get one late round pick for a guy who was a first round pick and has first round pedigree. I mean, that's just an excellent deal. It's already paying off. And I saw Sony interviewed after the last game, and comes across very well. And like, I'd never really seen him talk before. And I was like, yeah, Sony, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Feeling good, ready for this game. Me too. Anderson, I trust this line in the pass pro. I feel we're not getting much push in the run game, but this could be a good game that resets that. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to this. But Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea, I mean, like, those guys, they're no joke. And Levante David and Devin Bush, I mean, their linebackers are no joke. So that front, even without JPP, is going to be tough. And you put Joe Tryon on there, that's going to be tough stuff. So hopefully our line can really step up on this one. Let's see. Whoa. Okay, I got to power through this here. Oh, man, I'm way behind. Oh, so many comments here. I love it. I love it, guys. Thank you. It's good to see all you. Okay, I didn't get all the way back. Okay, here we go. Didn't Detroit play the Bucs last year? How did Stafford do? I don't know. But he's 3-2 against the Bucs all time. I see Higbee and Harris having a great game. Yeah, Higgs. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, it's roulette. Like, just spin the wheel. Which Rams players are going to get the ball? It's like the Bucs. You have the first week, Antonio Brown goes off. And then, the second week, it's Mike Evans going off and Gronk going off. And so it's Coop. And so Coop has gone off, and Higbee had a decent first game, and Woods has kind of been a little bit in there, and Van Jefferson had that one catch. But like, it'd be interesting to see how they mix the rest of these guys in. And I'm here for it. I love it. Trees and Van will bounce back. I think they will. I mean, Trees is always doing it. Yeah, he had a drop or two and uncharacteristic, but I have total faith in him. You like the McVay impression? Yeah. Picking up the carcass. Yep. What's up, Steve? D-Jax is an X factor. Trent McVay. Next time I'll really prepare a McVay for you guys, and I'll go on. That was just impromptu. Okay, when Renee House is in the house, you're getting some real talk. So Renee House has said, you got to tell me, I don't see the Rams winning this game. Last year, our run D was number 3. This year, number 21. Last year, our pass D was 1. This year, it's 12. Face it, our D is playing softer this year under Morris. I agree. I agree that it's playing softer, but you know, the Rams have still allowed fewer yards through 2 games, through the air and on the ground and total than they did last year in the first 2 games. So we're looking at last year's numbers, but that's an aggregate of a whole season where the Rams defensive identity found itself. So I guess you could say that so far in this young season, the Rams defense isn't put together, isn't optimized like it was last year when the Rams played the Bucs, or last year when they're towards the end of the season. So I totally get you on that. And I'll tell you this game is a coin toss for me. But I think Antonio Brown going out, I think JPP being out, I think I think they're secondary. Like here's the thing. If you look at both teams, Rams offensive line, good. Their offensive line, good. Their receivers, great. Our receivers, good to great. Their quarterback, great. Our quarterback, good to great. Their running backs, good. Our running backs, good. Their defensive line, great. Our defensive line, good to great. Their secondary, not good. Our secondary, great. Right? So it's like it's so close in so many of the different matchups, but their secondary is so significantly less than ours that I want to believe that no matter what happens, Stafford can just fling it to these guys. And I'm hoping that just mitigates the what our defense is doing. But I feel like, I'm hoping that our defense tightens it up from last week a little bit. Peo says predicting 45-42 Rams win, big plays by both teams on both sides of the ball. Whoa. Peo time is I mean, I don't know, drinking too much maple syrup up there, but I heard some score predictions today, and I'm erring on the side of this game being in the 20s, because these are 2 really good defenses, and the Rams don't allow explosive plays. So, I mean, it's hard for me to see this just as a complete shootout. But hey, I'll take a 45-42. And if the Rams win 45-42, like half of y'all are going to be complaining about the defense after the game instead of like, holy crap, we just beat the Bucs. So, but hey, that's what we do as fans, right? Brady is definitely going to dink and dunk if we keep playing soft coverages. Yep. Thank you, Richie. It's a good point. Dink and dunk. That's going to be the deal. Renee House, the Ram. Yeah, Philip agrees with Renee. The Rams are allowing dinks and dunks, and that concerns me with Brady, but I have to believe that they will get better under Raheem Morris. I mean, I think they will get there. I mean, they still have the talent. There are some new starters on this team. Big shout out to Michael Hoyt and Jonah Williams, 2 undrafted free agents from last year that made the active roster this year and have been getting some snaps. That's really awesome to see. You're thinking Nick thinks we're saving Deshaun for this game. Cool, do it. And I think it's just gonna be fun. I'm really just excited to see what happens in this game, because there's so many possibilities still in this year. Like, we still don't know so many things. I think, still in the honeymoon phase, I guess. Let's build together with Gio Capistrano. Let's build together, Gio. Never mind, Stafford didn't play against the Bucs last year. Daniels. Okay. Tampa Bay is too proficient on offense and to choke drives the way the Bears and the Colts did. I don't know if it's Tampa Bay or Tom Brady can finish drives. That's not good for us the way we're playing now. But Renee, I go watch the Bucs Falcons game. Bucs pull ahead at the beginning. The Falcons come back and make it a 3-point game with 10 minutes to go in the fourth, right? So, and that's the Falcons at playing in Tampa Bay, right? So there's no Aaron Donald on the field. There's no Jalen Ramsey on the field. There's no, It's Falcons defense. So, it's possible. It's possible. But I mean, I'm sometimes I'm pessimistic just in terms of like getting nervous about the game. I feel like McVay almost lost us the game when we were up by 11. Oh, the against the Colts. Well, that was more of a special teams deal. If the Rams D gives up 42 points, there's no way it can be considered elite or top tier defense. And with the talent on that side of the ball, it can only be considered underachieving. Yeah, but just like with the game we had before, the score was, they had 24 points, right? Or what did they have? But they should really have had 17 because one of those touchdowns was a special team, a botched special teams, but that goes against the defense, right? So when we talk about points allowed, are we really talking about points allowed by a defense? You look at the Kansas City Rams game, that crazy Monday night game. Like how many TDs were scored by or like defensive touchdowns? So yeah, I mean the defenses were pretty awful in that game in terms of just overall yardage and score, but contextually, not terrible. Do you think we could see Tutu this game? Anderson, this for me, I'll believe it when I see Tutu because I want to so bad. I want to see him out there. I want to see what they have planned for him. But the fact is like he's wide receiver number 5. How often does wide receiver number 5 get on the field, right? So unless I mean, maybe he's the late season wild card, but punt return, who knows? Richie is looking for Woods to have a bounce back game. So strange dropping those passes, even though some of the passes could have been placed better. Probably there was definitely the one where he had to like break back on that I think could have just been a better thrown ball, but he should catch that. Yeah, I think Woods will have a bounce back game. I mean that's who he is. He's solid all the time. He can have a couple drops, but he'll have a bounce back game. I'm not too worried. Peo doesn't think that they will give up that many, but he thinks it's a game of big plays with special teams and D scores on both sides. Yep. Phillip, to put pressure on Brady makes him feel uncomfortable. Oh, yeah. And I mean, I hope Brady feels as uncomfortable in this game as I did when he kissed his son on the lips. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Don't Google it. You don't want to see it. He's getting like a massage. And he tells his son to come over and give him a lip kiss. That's just odd. Doubtful the Rams don't need Atwell at this time, maybe next year. Yeah, and also, I mean, let's just face it, like one of the receivers could get banged up, then make some wide receiver 4, put him on the field for a jet sweep. I mean, I think they're going to really get creative. I saw how Seattle was using D. Eskridge, and they used him on jet sweep. They used him as a receiver, and he's like their wide receiver 4, maybe, right? So it just depends. Mike Evans is 6'5", so Jalen will have to match up with him in the end zone and 3 downs. Yeah, he did last year. I mean, Mike Evans did score a touchdown on Jalen. Was it in zone? I can't remember, but I know Mike Evans did score. But then Jalen like shut him down, so that was pretty sweet. Why aren't we seeing Terrell Burgess on the field? And I think it's just because of maybe they're just still easing him into game action, kind of like they did last year. He's playing special teams, full special teams, but Taylor Rapp's having a good year. I mean, rewatched the game, and Taylor Rapp was in on a lot of plays, making a lot of tackles. So I think right now Taylor Rapp was a 2nd-round pick when the Rams drafted him. The first pick of that draft for the Rams was Taylor Rapp, and he had a pretty solid rookie year. Then last year he was injured most of the time. So he still has the pedigree. I mean, I know we're excited about Terrell Burgess, but like Taylor Rapp was the Terrell Burgess before Terrell Burgess. So I think we just have a lot of depth there. And Terrell Burgess will definitely get some snaps. Well, green substance is here. I like it. Man, losing my voice. Excuse me, guys. Woo. Who matches up on Gronk? That's a good idea or good question. I think usually in the past, John Johnson covered the tight ends, but I don't know if that's going to be, excuse me, really choked up about the Rams today. I don't know if that's going to be, more of a Kenny Young deal. I don't know if Leonard Floyd or Justin Hollins might try and drop back in coverage on him. I don't know if, David Long is going to try it. I mean, that's going to be, to me, Gronk is their X factor on offense. I haven't talked about their running game. Rojo is kind of in the doghouse. He fumbled week 1 last week. He missed the blocking assignment where Brady got sacked. So Leonard Fournette really is the lead guy. Gio Bernard is their third down back. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of dinks and dunks to Fournette and Gio Bernard, but I don't think they're going to really account for anything too significant. Yeah, let's see. Shot by Nolan. Yeah, go subscribe to Payo. I mean, come on. What's everyone waiting for? Subscribe to Payo. Hey, Green Substance. Hey, you know what? Here's the deal for shouting out the other channels on YouTube. When I started, there was like one other guy doing Ram stuff, and it was LT from Combat Sports Talk LA. And he's kind of doing his own thing now, but he was cool. We did a collab, and we're all Rams fans. I'm not in here like this is not my turf. Anyone can do this. And so I'm just happy to see more Rams action on YouTube. So hell yeah. And all these guys are cool guys. So, if Peo, I think it's just his sweet Canadian ways. But if he wasn't, then no shout out for Peo, but he's cool. Philip, what's the deal with Terrell Burgess? Has he played much? No, just special teams. I think I covered this a little bit. Doing well, hoping CMC has a big game for fantasy team. Let's not talk about Christian McCaffrey, but if it helps, no, I'm playing against CMC. I don't want him to do well. I have Cooper Kupp in all of my leagues, and in 2 of them I have Matthew Stafford. So, bam, loving that. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max are the biggest boneheads in sports. Of course they are. They say we didn't beat Brady the last time we matched up. Did last year not exist? They were meaning Super Bowl 53. Yeah. I mean, Keyshawn, I like Keyshawn a little bit more. I think I'm not a big J. Will fan. Max Kellerman is, just might as well have Nick Wright on there and Mike Florio, that are just total Rams haters. But I mean, here's the deal. Rams just got to prove people wrong and shove it down their throats. I also will remind everyone that Nick Wright last year predicted the Rams to go 5-11. So it's kind of like, dude, do you really know football outside of the Chiefs? Lesson learned, all those concerns. Whoa. So sorry, Renee, I started reading it here. Anyways, I'm just going to do a big jump down. Sorry, guys. Rams House TV in this. What's up, Nick? Yeah. See you, Rams House TV. See? Those guys are great. If you also Instagram Rams House TV, those guys are always pumping out Instagram content. Rap looking solid. Rap is great. I'm a huge Taylor Rapp fan. Follow him on Instagram too, because he's always barbecuing really delicious food. Makes me want to buy a Traeger grill. Let's see here. Justin Hollins matched up with Gronk a few snaps last year. Justin is a big dude. Hey, Chris, good call. He is a big dude, and he was, he's like a hybrid guy. He's like a hybrid linebacker, edge guy. So, he is mobile like that. So yeah, I think we might be seeing that a little bit. But Gronk is just on another. I mean, it's old school Gronk. Rams House TV. Yeah, always good to see Rams House TV and Peo. Yeah, of course. Let's see here. Let's get to some more questions. Keyshawn is clueless on the Rams beyond 2018. Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, these talking head shows. Let's see here. I have some other stats here that I wrote down that I thought were pretty interesting. But I don't know how many of you watch or pay attention to Pro Football Focus. I always take Pro Football Focus grades with a grain of salt, right? They're not to me like the authority on anything, but they do actually count for something. especially when it's in the Rams player's favor. But they have 3 cornerbacks in the top 38. They have Jalen Ramsey at 5, D. Will at 33, and David Long Jr. at 38. So, I mean, you think about how many teams, if you just go 2 cornerbacks, not even taking in the slot corner, but 2 cornerbacks, that's 64 starting cornerbacks in the NFL, right? The Rams have 3 in the top 38. So their cornerbacks are playing pretty well. Now, one thing I want to say about the Rams offense, they are highly efficient on offense. They have scored 6 TDs through 2 weeks, all on long fields. Oh, this is from JB Long. All on long fields. The shortest TD drive has been 70 yards. Average has been 76 and a half. 61 total points is impressive, but even more so in the context of long fields, time of possession deficits, and trailing for only 2 minutes and 3 seconds of the season so far. So, offense is just great. I think, it's just been so efficient. That's why we're not seeing a lot of these players rack up so many stats. The Rams defense has forced 4 turnovers and made 3 fourth down stops in just 2 weeks. And this is the thing that just blew my mind the most is that on all of the Rams drives, if a drive goes more than just 5 yards, it ends in points. All of the drives where they had to punt or it was an interception, they did not gain 5 yards on those drives, like -2, 5 yards was the most. So if the Rams pick up a first down, they score points. If they just get past 5 yards, they score points. I mean, I know it's a young season, but like that's insane. So either it's like feast or famine. Yeah. So those are just some of the key stats I've got right there, still left over. William Ramirez is in the house. What's up, William? Have you ever thought about doing live streams during the Rams games, kind of like how Tom Grossi does with the Packers games? I've thought about it, but part of me, I'm kind of nervous and I'm always up and down. I'm walking, and sometimes I just want to like really focus on the game. But maybe we give it a shot this year. If it's like a 10 a.m. game, maybe I rock one of those. I don't know if you guys would be down for a live stream like during game, or if you prefer just to have like watch it on your own and then have a post game, which I'm going to do a post game for the Bucs game. So as soon as that game is over, turn on your notifications and let's let it rip. All right. So, yeah. Do you think we should trade for Jamie Collins like a 5th round pick? I don't know. I mean, I like Jamie Collins as linebacker. I mean, I kind of like our crew. Traven Howard's working his way back. Ernest Jones getting some snaps. So I don't know. But that's an interesting question. I never thought about that. Lowest pressure rates, Matthew Stafford's 20.3. Yeah. Rams House TV. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So this is a solid Rams team. Rams House TV, love the 420, but have a good content and knowledge. I love those guys. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more with every part of that, with every single part of that. So, yeah, really appreciate those guys. And let's see, Payo Time, Rams House TV, Rams Talk 3, favorite YouTube. Okay. Yeah, it's all coming together right here. Micah Kaiser was picked up by the Broncos. Good call, Nick. Nick's dropping a lot of dimes here right now, but yeah, Micah Kaiser was claimed by the Broncos. And I think, maybe we can just look at this as a trade. We traded Micah Kaiser for Justin Hollins because we picked up Justin Hollins. I think he was waived, I don't know, or just put on the practice squad by the Broncos last year. So, and which is really interesting because in the draft that Micah Kaiser came out in, I was looking at linebackers, and Micah Kaiser was a guy that I had in mind that I thought the Rams might take based on the formula that I go by, which is, did they meet with him and were they at the Senior Bowl? Micah Kaiser was both. But there was another guy, Josie Jewell, a linebacker, I think, out of Iowa. and the Broncos took Josie Jewell, and the Rams took Micah Kaiser. And now Micah Kaiser is going to be on the same team as Josie Jewell. That's just how my brain works. So there you go. A lot of Ramley in here. Damn straight. Also, as of right now, Carolina is number one against passing and rushing. They're on a mission. I didn't think Sam Darnold was garbage. The Jets are garbage, and now you're seeing Sam Darnold do his thing, and they built their defense really well. Like the last couple drafts were defense first. So, yeah, they're going to be a force to contend with. Post show would be awesome for the Bucs game. All right, RV Hopper. I think at least for the late games, I'll just do a post game. So, yeah. Let's see. Just don't do the Titans live game because you're going to that game and probably won't get a good reception at SoFi. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. William, you just let me know. Yeah, I think the post game live streams are kind of the way to go for me. So that means I don't have to like create another thing solo and film it and upload it and edit it and all that stuff. I just can let it rip and it's instant. So how bad was Daryl Henderson's injury? I mean, I don't really know. I think they're downplaying it and just saying, it's kind of like a day-to-day thing, may or may not. But I just feel like when you're talking ribs, you're talking cartilage, you just let it heal, man. You just let it heal. Like Cam Akers missed like 2+ games last year with his, and that one was pretty gnarly. Like the point of the football went in between the ribs and separated the cartilage. Like, ugh. So, okay. Trent, curious on your opinion on where on the Brian Allen haters are. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would definitely call myself a Brian Allen skeptic like 5 months ago. Okay. And however, at the same time, I noted that it is impossible to draw a conclusion based on that sample size from like 2.5 years ago. So, who knew? Who knew? They always say that offensive linemen take 3 years to properly develop. And I think we saw that with Joe Noteboom. When he filled in for Whitworth last year, he was great. But we hadn't seen that with Brian Allen. So and that's going to be a key matchup. Brian Allen versus Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh. I mean, our entire offensive line has to really step up in this game. And I think they'll be up to the challenge, especially if JPP is out. But, Bruce Arians, Sean McVay, the coaching's going to be great. Special teams are going to be a concern for me. How bad was okay, I think I already got that. Michael Moore. How do you feel about Chris Garrett? I like Chris Garrett. I think for him, it's just a development issue. It's just getting reps and developing and getting out there. Because, he dominated preseason, but I mean, like he's going against second, third stringers. So can he do that against Tristan Wirfs and Donovan Smith, right? Can he do that against the big boys? Yep. Let's see. Henry might run through us that game. What week is that? Maybe our defense tightens up beforehand. Oh yeah, for the Titans. Yeah, I mean, I just, against the Colts, if you take away Carson Wentz's scrambling, right? So like just real running back runs, they averaged nothing. Like with the Rams defense against Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines did really, really well. It's crazy to me how oftentimes we just lose sight of the context, right? So, you can't take away the yards of Carson Wentz, but like when you think about the rushing yards that they have, no one's thinking that Carson Wentz was their most efficient runner. Like I think he'd rushed 5 times for 37, and Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines like really were grinding for nothing. I'm going to pull it up. I want to see this. I can't remember what it was, what Jonathan Taylor's average was, but of course my phone is not working. No, there we go. Week 2, Rams, Colts, box score. So does anyone know this off the top of their heads? Colts, Jonathan Taylor, 15 for 51 yards. with a 3.4 average. Wentz 5 for 37, Marlon Mack 5 for 16. So essentially, their running backs average like 3.3 yards per carry. I'll take that. Their running backs had 67, 72 yards on 21 carries. That's not bad at all. That's awesome. And Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who here is old enough for tool time, for home improvement? So, I mean, come on, guys, sky ain't falling. The run defense is not terrible. Like you take that 41 yarder away from David Montgomery in week 1, it's a whole different ballgame, right? So like sometimes it's just one run, it's QB runs that skew how we look at the stats and synthesize that. Context is everything, my friends. Max Scherzer for the wild card game. Hey, that's pretty random, but yes. God, I just, side note, talking Dodgers, I just want to actually talk Padres. Man, what a complete meltdown, Padres. Manny Machado. Give me a break. You can have Manny Machado. It's Padres. You think back to McVay liking what we have with the O-line after the draft, and Ramley overreacted. Yeah, but I don't think he knew that Brian Allen was going to be Brian Allen. I think Brian Allen really got a shot, a combination of his ascension and Bobby Evans' descension. And not like a dissension, like you know what I mean. This game will be like the Rams Chiefs game a few years ago. SPAC, I really think it's going to be a lower scoring game just because the defenses are good, unless the Rams just go nuts on the Bucs secondary. The Bucs didn't really establish the run game yet. I think we should definitely take advantage of it. Yeah, I think so too. I think this could just be like how it was last year. Both running games didn't do much. And it was the Rams, through the air, really just rocking and rolling. AB is looking to be out from COVID. Yeah, but I mean, is he? Your body doesn't lie with the tests. Same in the Bears game. Outside a couple runs this season, the defense has clamped down on the run, but we can't look ahead to the Titans game. We need to focus on this week's opponent. When Anderson raises his voice, we stop and we listen. Okay? But I get what you're saying. Yeah, the run defense will show up. I mean, I think they're going to be they're going to be jacked up. It's going to be at SoFi. Anyone here going to the game? Anyone going to the game? Anyone who's been at a game so far and had the food? I heard it's terrible. It looks terrible. Maybe Sue won't cheap shot him. They played together. So don't get me wrong. So Matthew Stafford was the first pick in the draft. And then the next year, the Rams had the first pick in the draft, and they took Sam Bradford. And then the Lions had the second pick, and they took Ndamukong Suh. Is that what happened? I think that was like consecutive years, Stafford and then Suh. That was an interesting time. Maybe Suh, Padres peaked way too early. Yeah, the Padres. I mean, come on, man. Beginning of the year, that was such a hot little mini rivalry. Padres. Giants. I hope you're talking about New York Giants. I could stomach someone being a Rams and New York Giants fan more than a San Francisco Giants. I'm just going to pretend you didn't say that, Man United. FCF fan 4601. In terms of our defense in total, we're not the Falcons. We'll give the Bucs a tough challenge. Exactly. This should have been a primetime game. Yeah, but I'm kind of glad that it's just normal so I can stay up and watch it. Cooks is having a good year. Yeah, good call, William. What do you think about the Rams D-line playing inside tight against Brady? It's not like he could run. I'm down with that. Yeah. Well, guys, I'm gonna be shutting it down. I really appreciate all of you stopping by. This has been good stuff. Like I started off with my spiel, but then now it's just been in here conversating with you guys. If anyone is watching this, like I said on the replay, please leave a comment below. And keep commenting on this, letting me know on Twitter what's going on. And I'm sure there will be plenty of updates, like will AB be in there? Will JPP be in there? Will Tutu be in there? Will Brian Quick be in there? These are all questions that, maybe we find out later this week. Went to the Bears game, Rams game, and yes, the food looks terrible, but I would still eat it. Food is food. I don't care really. Well, Nick, just to eat before. I used to have LA Galaxy season tickets, and there was um, a barbecue joint like right next to the stadium, and it was like a mom and pop's place called Father's or Dad's or something like that. I can't remember, but it was so good. And so every time I go to a game, I'm just like, I'm just gonna go eat this barbecue and then just walk over to the game and like spend like $15 for a full plate of all this stuff. That's awesome. Like they're just grilling right there. And then I saw that they were actually grilling out inside the stadium. Like they brought that restaurant or those guys in a barbecue. And I was like, that's how you do it. So, anyways, I would recommend eat outside the stadium, then come in I haven't tried the food yet. But horns up. Hey, thanks for stopping by, everyone. I really appreciate it. Good to see all of you. Love you guys. Girls, there are girls there, but you know what I mean? Brian Quick activated. Yeah. Um, Season ticket nachos are decent, but food sucks in general. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. I used to live in LA. I'm from LA. I was an old school Rams fan, like back in the day. I went to games at the Big A when I was a kid. Stuck with them when they went to St. Louis. And then when they came back, I was so stoked. And then I moved 2 years ago away from LA. So yeah. Yeah, I lived in LA and went to the Monday night game, the Rams versus Chiefs. So oh yeah. That's why it's LA. It's all LA sports for me. The Big A. Yeah. Back when that was like a Jim Everett time when I saw them back then. Um, yeah, my Boy Scout troop got like free tickets once and we went. Anyways, enough about that. But you guys have an awesome Thursday. And as always, go Rams.